Hello there, D&D fans. I'm Pittsburgh Pat, and I'm going to tell you guys about the Spelljammer campaign that I am in, the evil Spelljammer campaign that I'm in. And yeah, I'm not DMing this time. I'm actually a player character. So I'm going to recount to you some of the things that happened during our session number 1. We had a session 0 a couple weeks ago, and that was a lot of fun. But yeah, we actually got to play. So there are 5 player characters and, of course, a DM. So 6 of us around the table. Really an optimum size, I think. 4 can be a lot of fun too, but 5 player characters just seems to be the right balance. So anyway, we've got myself. My character is Braggadocio, and I've used Braggadocio in Adventure League games. And but this is his kind of backstory. So we're going to find out where Braggadocio comes from. He's an astral elf with a noble background. So basically, I'm going to be the spoiled rich kid who's trying to get back at his parents. So he's being bad by being bad, or maybe he's really good and his parents are bad because they're astral elves and they're usually the enemy, and or a bad race in Space Jammer, like they're usually the bad guys. But anyway, the character, I describe him as being like ectomorph, like a humanoid but kind of lean and not very strong and not really smart, and but he's got these black eyes. So like where we have whites of our eyes, his eyes are black. And for pupils, he has these like kind of stars. So if you look directly at his eyes, it's kind of intimidating. And he often like wears a cowl or a hood so that he doesn't have to look people in the eye. And he uses it for like intimidation purposes and that sort of thing. And astral elves are cool. They have special abilities like Starlight Step, which is basically Misty Step with a little bit of panache. And I also have him have an ornate rapier, and he's got some gold. His starting gold was 175 gold. I just rolled really well. And he is a noble, so he's in fine clothes. He's got a cape, he's just, he's got a little bit of panache. And he's a bard, so, he is roaming the galaxy trying to find inspiration for his next song, basically. That's his modus operandi. And I have some other things about him too. But let's talk about some of the other characters. So there's a Gith Yankee who's... he just named Dith, so we called him. I have trouble remembering names, so call him Dith the Gith, and that worked out. The DM even used that phoneme of, is that what it is? No, mnemonic device in order to remember his name. And then we also have my friend who's also a fellow Adventure League DM, Victor, who is a human cleric, and his character's name's Darvin. And he actually has an affiliation with the goddess of misfortune. He's come to become I don't want to say acolyte, but definitely a supporter and believer of hers, and kind of points out to other people when their misfortune befalls them, or to be wary of misfortune. So that's kind of cool. That's his like modus operandi. He's human. And we have a fighter who's Cirque, I think is what we're calling him. And he's a warlock. And so this is kind of cool. But the most interesting like character so far to me that I think is my friend Julia. She's playing a humanoid, but is surgically altered. Like her brain, she's wearing like some kind of coronet like around her head, like there's some kind of metal like circlet there basically. And she's been like surgically altered into some kind of bioweapon or something like that. So I'm thinking like Firefly, or the movie version Serenity. But she's not pretty, she's not like tell me what the name of the actress was who played that. I can't believe I'm not coming up with her name. But anyway, yeah. So she's the one that played like the Terminator in the Terminator Chronicles. The Sarah Connor Chronicles. Anyway, the short-lived TV show that should have been like awesome and a series for a long time. She's a humanoid. She's deathly pale. She's got some kind of purple gem in the middle of her forehead. We're not sure what that does. And she just goes by the name of Id. And so anyway, we're all really supposedly bad characters, like pirates, sort of, or just like soldiers of fortune. So basically, we're on a Spelljammer ship. We're on this flying moth, space moth, basically, and we're like one of the escort ships to the principal capital ship. So basically, there's a really large flying moth in this armada, and it's basically a battleship, and we're basically like a destroyer, maybe. So anyway, we're going to this place which has just been called Fort Knox. Because that's a name that the DM said he could remember. So we're going to Fort Knox, and we're basically just supposed to cause havoc, right? Just like all out like attack. So what happens is we weren't sure. We thought we were doing like a kind of a clandestine sabotage mission, but as it turned out, it's a frontal assault. So it's a naval assault on this basically a port. And what happens is before we get to the destination to do the assault, we all could talk to each other and walk around and that sort of stuff. And the Gith was like, talking about killing people in the next bunk, and the Id was talking about putting away some bloody clothes, which she may or may not have dispatched somebody. My character is not really as crazy as that in that way. So he went up on deck to look around, and he saw some arcane artillery, basically like gemstones and like a projectile with some big gemstones. It was like a kind of a cannon, I guess, and 3 mages arming it. Before I could basically ask anything about it, we were indicated that there was a larger, more angular, metallic space moth ship, and that was the flagship, basically, and it had like this crimson red sails, and it sounded really cool. So we found out Fort Knox was a way station, like a place where travelers like kind of hung out, that sort of thing. So we went below into the battle deck, and an officer who was a wood elf basically showed us like a hologram, like a magic. There's like artificer kind of things going on in here, steampunk kind of inventions and things, and plus there's magic. So anyway, it turns out that Colonel August Autumn briefed us, gave us a little ad victoriam kind of speech. I really like that our DM was able to like do that. I like the ad victoriam thing. So I'm learning Latin, so it's a lot of fun. So anyway, Colin is the name of our DM, and he's really good. He says this is the first one that he's done in person. He's done some on DM, some stories and such on Twitch, or not Twitch, Discord, and this is his first in-person one, but he did a really good job. And he said the klaxons roar, and so I said, here's what I want to do. When the ship gets close to the station, when it gets close to where we're going to assault, I wanted to do like a Johnny Depp kind of like at the beginning of the first Pirates of the Caribbean, when his ship is sinking and at the very last moment he steps onto the deck. I wanted to do something like that. Well, he the DM Colin basically, and also my friend the Gith, Dith the Gith as well. And the reason I did that is because at the beginning, Dith was talking to Darvin about this really cool effect where you can jump off the ship and the ship has its own gravity and it'll pull you right back. And so I'm not that smart, but I'm brave. And so my character, well, I don't know. And so I don't know if you would describe me that way or not. But my character, Braggadocio, is definitely that way. Excuse me. So he decides he wants to jump off the ship, and when we get close, because he's so anxious to get into battle. It turns out we're 500 feet away from the shore, and so we jump off the ship, and we lose momentum as the ship is faster than us, and so we're kind of like those people. I'm sorry, where do these hiccups come from? We're like those people on Survivor that jump off the boat as the boat's going to dock, and then they have to swim into shore like dummies. They didn't like think about it. So that's pretty cool. So so we did that, and so me and Dith are in the water. Basically, we're in space, but we're in the water. So the rest of them go and they get a round of combat before we do. So finally, I rolled an 18 for my initiative, so I'm pretty high up in the second round of combat. So I'm trying to figure out what to do while all these guys are taking a round. And I thought, okay, well, my character's a bard, so he's out here to be inspired to write his next song. So he's watching all this cannon fire and like celestial like spells and arcane like bolts going everywhere and people fighting. And I thought, okay, he would write the Star Spangled Banner, right? He would be like Francis Scott Key looking at the assault on Fort McHenry. And I thought of Fort Knox. I thought, okay, well, this is an assault on a fort, a naval assault. So I started thinking, and I wrote a song. So what I did was, as I wrote this song, I tried to figure out what my character was going to do. So the next thing it did was it tried to get one of the guys who was in combat. I was trying to get this character to flee away from him. So I cast Dissonant Whispers. And Dissonant Whispers is I put a discordant melody into a creature's head. And so I did it with one of the enemy that was attacking. I think it was Darwin. And I basically said this. So I said my song, which was, crystal cannon's fire, contributing to the astral pyre, melee attacks in the middle of the scrum, blood spilt to the beat of a drum. Come for me, enemy. I am here to make you bleed. Come hither and say hello to the sword of braggadocio. So I rolled 3d6 psychic damage, and the character that I was attacking failed on his wisdom save, so he had to flee as a reaction as immediately, as far away from me as he could, giving Darwin, I like Darwin better, Darwin an opportunity attack. So he was able to do that. So that was pretty cool. So then I thought, well, on my next round, I would try to convince like one of my allies to give me a shield, because I don't have a shield, and I wanted a +2 to my armor class. So that didn't happen. Instead, we got into combat, and I ended up getting a shield from one of the enemy. But basically, the Githraki, Dith, he cast Flaming Sphere, and he was moving it all over the battlefield, toasting people. So we were basically guiding people into that sphere. Oh, for the second round, I know what I did. So for the second round of combat, there were 4 enemy left. So I basically just like walked up to them in the middle of them and just said, hey, guys. You know what would be great right now? We should all just go to sleep. And I cast sleep. And so I knocked 2 of them out. And one of them was like in contact with the flaming spear. And what happened, I guess, with the sphere was they had to make a dexterity saving throw. But since they were prone, at least this is what the DM said, they fail on their dexterity saving throws while prone. So they basically just got toasted to a crisp. And then, we cleared up the battle, and I got a shield off of one of the fallen ones. And that was it. And that was our session. So we had a nice short session to begin with. 1 combat, a lot of flavor, a lot of color. And I took silvery barbs because we were allowed to. A lot of DMs don't allow that. It's a Strixhaven book specific to that adventure. But since we're not playing by any particular, Adventure League rules or anything, we're just playing homebrew, basically. The DM allowed us to take it. So the Gith character was using it liberally. And it's just broken, I think. Like, you get, you give somebody advantage on their attacks and give their opponent disadvantage. And I think I might drop that. And it's a first level spell. So I have 4 first level slots. And I thought, nah, I think I'm going to skip that. And also, I found out that there's some overlap with the id character, the surgically altered bioweapon character, who's a warlock. Oh, no, she's a sorcerer. She's playing a sorcerer. And I thought, she said that she cast Dissonant Whispers, and then she also cast Sleep. And I thought, well, I like Dissonant Whispers, especially as a bard. Like, that was really fun and cool. I thought Sleep is not necessarily as cool. I mean, you could lull somebody to sleep with a lullaby, but if she wants to keep sleep, I think I'll pick a different first level spell so we don't have as much overlap. So I'm going to coordinate with her in our group chat on the Discord. Anyway, that was our first evil Spelljammer session, and hope you enjoyed these recounts, these recaps, because they always, whenever I watch somebody doing these D&D stories on the other channels, I always enjoy them. So I hope you do too, and if you do, let me know. Put it in the comments. Likes and subscriptions are awesome. And I had a conversation with Ryan Doyle of the Verdigris table recently, actually earlier today, and I'm going to post that as well. So check that interview out. There's a lot of magic items. We did a review of different magic items and gave some ideas on how to use those. So anyway, happy D&Ding out there, if that's a thing. And may you have advantage on all your saving throws. I'll see you on the next one.